So this is the second video that I'm doing on guilt. The first one I did shared more of my guilt storyline and how I'm still even working through that, because we have these emotions and we've had them for so long. We've suppressed them for so long. We've avoided them for so long. And so there's different levels to each emotion. So for example, mine is guilt, but there could be guilt in so many different areas of my life. So as I begin to address each area, it comes like with the level of guilt. So as I'm working through mine, I decided to share my experiences as well. Why? Because I'm not perfect. Why? Because I'm not anybody's guru. And even though I'm still working through my guilt and releasing it from my body, I can still be of help to you, because I can still bring the information forth for you then to take the leap of faith and the responsibility to heal yourself as well, if you so choose to. You don't have to do it alone. You can get guidance, you can, ask family and friends, you can join the community, but ultimately you're going to see growth and change and healing when you decide to put in the work. You have to face it, you have to process it, you have to accept it, and then how you'll begin to experience a better life is when you transmute it, when you put on better and healthier emotions, so that you can start developing a better self-talk, and that your default emotion becomes more positive as opposed to negative. And it's important to work with your emotions because they have a really big connection to your overall health and wellness. And we're not normally taught that. We just think we get sick and have all these health issues out of nowhere. It's tied to your emotions. And because it doesn't always manifest right away, we don't even make the connection. So hopefully this makes sense to you. And let's get into guilt. Here's transparency. This is my third time trying to read it. I don't have my glasses on. Okay. The whole system is based on the guilty and the innocent. And we all know that guilt has a strong consequence. Consciously or subconsciously, guilt is associated with punishment, jail, and the need to serve a sentence. Guilt also requires judgment, which can lead to shame and embarrassment. Guilt and shame eat away at the body because many people hold the self-sabotaging belief that they deserve to be punished. People feel guilty about working too much, not working enough, not spending enough time with their kids, spending too much money, drinking too much, and so on. Even relaxation, rest, or having more money or luxuries than others can lead to guilt. In addition, guilt often encourages people to do the very thing they feel guilty about. An easy example is to eat sweets or junk, or sorry, an easy example is eating sweets or junk food. The guiltier someone feels about them, the more likely they are to eat them. All guilt is the same. It is destructive to your body and soul. It keeps you in change rather than helping you change and discover freedom. Guilt is associated with hip problems, migraines, weight issues, venereal disease, osteoporosis, Parkinson's disease, insomnia, impotence, hernia, and heart disease. That is a lot to unpack with guilt, because you see it also brings in other emotions like shame and embarrassment, which those are ones I will also cover. So make sure that you give me a follow if you like this content, so that you can be front and center when I address those as well. So we see guilt is everywhere, and it's something you can store in your body, and it's kind of like linked to self-sabotage, and we wonder why we self-sabotage, right? So when you are trying to figure out where guilt is in your life, you can break it down from parenthood to careers to spouse to goals, any of those areas, and start figuring out why you feel guilty. As a mom, I used to feel really guilty about wanting to take time away from my children. And I would hear conflicting information. And then I was like, wait, what do I feel? That if I'm always with my children because I'm a stay-at-home mom, why do I have to feel guilty? Because I know I'm intentional, so I'm in that process even now. It's just saying, go out, Adriana, do what you have to do, because there's no need to feel guilty. You're an amazing mom. You spend hours with your kids all day. So for you to take an hour, 2, 3 hours, 4 hours, and even if it was overnight, you are deserving of that. You shouldn't feel guilty. And here's the thing, them kids are fine and they won't remember. And I don't put them just with anybody, so I don't have to feel guilt around that. And speaking about people who have more money, this is also something to think about, because we think, oh, everybody who has money is selfish and, they're enjoying money. Sometimes they have these emotions too, that, dang, man, I got all this money, but I know these people are starving. Man, I feel guilty and I feel all that pressure that I have to be the one to solve everybody's issue. So not everybody who has money is able to embrace it and enjoy it for things like guilt. So just ask yourself, write it down, why you have guilt, and then ask yourself, do you want to keep that, or do you want to find another way to think about that situation so that you can stop self-sabotaging? And these are just little pointers to think about. Go deep into the questions and sit with it. Don't rush through it. Don't say you don't know, because I don't know is an escape. So just think about where you feel guilty, and I tell you to go far enough to kind of get to the root of it. I'm not asking you to relive your situations around guilt, but maybe there was somebody who when you were growing up, who always tried to make you feel like you were guilty. They didn't trust you because they didn't trust themselves. So they pushed guiltiness on you and you have accepted it. And now you can't trust yourself because you know that you weren't lying. But now you're like, well, this person's perceiving me as guilty, so now I'm going to own that label. And you're going to subconsciously be living out like this guilt, So it gets intense, but it's not something that you cannot work with. And as I always say, these emotions, guilt, hatred, frustration, these are not ones that I don't say you would never experience again, but you want to get to the point where they are not your default thinking. And you want to find a more healthier emotion so that you can combat that and start responding to things in life instead of reacting. So I hope this helps. Make sure you do your homework.